That night was supposed to be ordinary. My wife told me her new boss was hosting a birthday party for the office and said she had to attend. She spent extra time getting ready, carefully choosing her dress, fixing her hair, and checking her reflection one last time before leaving. I remember teasing her about looking too beautiful for a work event, and she laughed before kissing my cheek on the way out. I stayed home, expecting her back before midnight. At first, I wasn't worried. Office parties run late all the time. I made coffee, watched television, and checked my phone every few minutes without thinking much of it. But as the hours crawled by, the silence inside the house began to feel heavier. Midnight came and went. Then 1 a.m. I called her once. No answer. Again. Still nothing. By 3 a.m., I was pacing through the living room with a knot in my chest. Every possible explanation ran through my mind. Maybe her phone battery died. Maybe someone at work needed help getting home. Maybe she had too much to drink and stayed with friends. But another thought kept forcing its way into my head, one I desperately tried to push away. What if she wasn't alone? The sun was beginning to rise when I finally heard the front door unlock. She stepped inside quietly, almost like she hoped I would be asleep. But I had not slept for a second. The moment I saw her, something inside me cracked. Her hair was messy. Her dress looked wrinkled and hurriedly fixed. Her eyes avoided mine completely. And there was a look on her face I had never seen before. Guilt so obvious it almost hurt to look at. Then I caught the faint scent of a man's cologne lingering on her clothes. "You're awake," she whispered nervously. "I never went to sleep," I replied. The room fell silent. I asked her where she had been, and she quickly started explaining how the party ran late, how people kept convincing her to stay longer, how her phone died unexpectedly. The words sounded rushed and hollow, like excuses she had practiced during the drive home. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I simply looked at her and nodded while she hurried toward the bedroom. But deep down, I already knew the truth. The next morning, she acted strangely quiet. She barely looked at me while making coffee. When she went into the shower, I noticed her phone sitting on the kitchen counter. For a moment, I stared at it, fighting with myself. Then I picked it up, while I found shattered whatever hope I still had left. There were messages between her and her boss stretching back weeks. Flirting, private jokes, secret conversations late at night while I slept beside her. Then I found messages about the party and a hotel room afterward. My hands trembled as I read them, not because I was shocked anymore, because every fear I had spent the night trying to deny had just become real. When she walked out of the bathroom, she froze. I was sitting at the table holding her phone. "Ashley," I said quietly, "how long has this been going on?" Her face lost all color. Within seconds, she burst into tears, apologizing over and over, insisting it was a mistake, saying she never meant for things to go this far. But mistakes don't happen for weeks. Mistakes don't involve secret messages, hidden plans, and lies told every single day. She made choices, and every one of those choices led her away from me. That morning, something inside me changed forever. I realized she hadn't only betrayed our marriage. She had destroyed the life we built together, and somehow expected me to quietly accept it. Instead of exploding in anger, I became calm. Too calm. While she cried and begged for forgiveness, my mind was already planning what came next. I gathered everything. Screenshots, call logs, messages, photos. I even hired a private investigator to make sure I understood the full truth before making my next move. Every painful detail became another piece of evidence. Then I contacted a lawyer. If she thought she could betray me and walk away untouched, she was about to learn how wrong she was. But I wasn't finished. Her boss had a wife of his own. I reached out to her privately and asked if we could meet. At first, she didn't believe me. But the moment she saw the messages, her entire expression changed. The heartbreak in her eyes mirrored my own. Neither of us said much for a while. There was nothing left to say. Two strangers sitting across from each other, connected by the same betrayal. Together, we decided the truth would not stay hidden. Over the next few days, everything began collapsing around them. I filed for divorce and attached every piece of evidence I had collected. Suddenly, my wife realized this was no longer something she could cry her way out of. The man she risked everything for was falling apart too. His wife exposed the affair to people inside his company. What had once been a secret quickly became public humiliation. Rumors spread through the office. Executives became involved. The promotion he had been chasing disappeared overnight. Soon after, so did his job. The exciting fantasy they built together crumbled the moment reality arrived. My wife started panicking. She begged me to stop the divorce, begged me to give her another chance, begged me not to ruin her life. But the truth was simple. She ruined it herself. One night, while standing in the same living room where I'd spent hours waiting for her to come home, she broke down crying and asked why I seemed so cold. I looked at her quietly before answering. The moment you walked through that door that morning, everything between us died. She couldn't even respond, because deep down, she knew it was true. When the divorce was finally over, I walked away exhausted but free. The pain didn't disappear overnight, but little by little, I started rebuilding myself. Meanwhile, the life she thought she was gaining vanished completely. Her boss abandoned her to protect himself. Her reputation was damaged. Her career suffered, and the marriage she threw away was gone forever. Sometimes betrayal doesn't destroy you. Sometimes it reveals who people really are. That birthday party was never just a celebration. It was the night the lies finally collapsed. And the morning she came home believing she could hide the truth was the morning she lost everything. In the end, revenge was never the thing that healed me. The truth did. For a long time, I thought losing her would destroy my life. I thought the betrayal would leave a wound too deep to recover from. But as the months passed, I realized something important. Her choices did not define my worth. She traded loyalty for excitement, honesty for secrets, and love for temporary attention. And in the process, she lost the one person who would have stood beside her through anything. As for me, I stopped asking why it happened. Some answers only keep the pain alive. Instead, I focused on rebuilding the parts of myself her betrayal tried to break. Slowly, the house felt peaceful again. The anger faded. The sleepless nights became fewer. And for the first time in a long while, I could look in the mirror without seeing a broken man staring back. People often think betrayal destroys the victim, but sometimes it destroys the person who caused it far more. She lost a marriage, her stability, and the future we planned together. I lost an illusion, and once the illusion was gone, I finally saw the truth clearly. Real love does not hide in lies. Real loyalty does not disappear when temptation appears. And real peace begins the moment you stop begging people to value what they were willing to risk losing. The night she didn't come home felt like the end of my world. But looking back now, it was actually the beginning of a better one.